Hey there riders, Motogenic Chris here, and I wanted to have a chat about Harley's new models for 2020, the Bronx and Pan America, with further details breaking cover on these two models. They'll be featuring a new Revolution Max power plant, a 60-degree V-twin with liquid cooling, and expanding the brand's offerings into the naked bike and adventure markets. But pending their reception, it seems a strong possibility this will help Harley expand further outside their traditional area, something we've first seen them do to an extent with the street model line, as well as to a larger extent with the electric live wire. Now there's two versions of this power plant, a 975cc version to grace the Harley Bronx Street Fighter and a larger 1250cc version for the Pan America, their adventure touring option. We don't have full specifications yet, but Harley have announced that they are aiming for 115 horsepower and 70 foot-pounds of torque from the Bronx, or about 95 newton meters of torque, which for a point of comparison is in a similar region to the Ducati Monster 821. In comparison, the Pan America's 1250cc Revolution Max will aim to offer 145 horsepower and 90 foot-pounds of torque, taking things to the next level and looking to compete in that more premium adventure touring area, while also ensuring plentiful performance 2-up. While there's a bit of capacity gap, an interesting comparison here may be Suzuki's V-Strom 1050, which weighs in at just under 250 kilos and will offer 106 horsepower in 2020. So from a performance perspective, both bikes are looking pretty well aligned with what's on offer from the competition, and quite competitive as well. Naturally, running V-twins will make the torque a bigger consideration in many ways, so the big question on a lot of people's minds are what these bikes will weigh in at. Of course, in many ways, for your everyday rider, how that weight is carried is perhaps more important than the outright figure, with some machines carrying their weight very well, and on most machines it being a thought which disappears as soon as you're moving. Also, looking again at the Bronx, it seems unlikely this is aimed at being a super light, peaky, fire-breathing super sport style hyper naked machine. That's not really Harley's thing, and thinking of bikes like Kawasaki's Z800 or Z1000, there's machines which buck that kind of expectation and have a strong place in the market. Obviously, comparing specs on the computer, it's easy to get caught up in which bikes have the most power, or power to weight ratio, or the highest spec. But the reality here is that if this was all that mattered, all riders would buy a single bike in each category. Brand personality and quirks, or character as the Europeans would call it, are a big aspect here too, with Harley unlikely to win any accolades for introducing a copy of something else someone is doing, but they are getting a chance to redefine what owning a Harley means moving forward. It's also looking like we'll get a good level of specification on the Bronx, with Brembo brakes, USD forks, a light banana-style swing arm, lightweight wheels, and a cool minimalist dash. It's looking good for a muscle roadster, so it'll be interesting to see the final specs and of course the price. On the Pan America, we're also seeing what looks like a very high level of specification for an adventure tourer, again with Brembo brakes, off-road spoked wheels with knobby tyres, sump protection, handguards, an adjustable screen, a large colour display, probably ready for mobile connectivity and displaying navigation, as well as showing some electronic options. There's cruise control on the switchblocks, so ride-by-wire, which adds the strong possibility of other features like riding modes, perhaps traction control. You can also spy the heated grips button, what may be a steering damper, and possibly even electronic suspension. Adventure touring machines being big, tall, and heavy is the norm, and we also get to see some possible luggage setup options with hard panniers and a top box in some of the images provided. Styling is very unique too, with an aspect that won't be confused for anything else. There does tend to be a much more recognisable design in this segment though, so it'll be interesting to see what owners think when these hit the showroom floors and riders start to pick them up. Harley have provided some cool shots of the Pan America being put through its paces off-road, and it certainly looks capable. A lot of that is the rider of course, but when you're buying an adventure or dual sport, it's nice to see what someone else far more skilled is able to do on your machine, even if it's unlikely that you'll ever be doing that yourself, or at least be photographed doing it. Anyway, to me it's an exciting time to be watching Harley-Davidson. Maybe less so for the older riders who are happy with the existing range and are less interested in the new bikes, but for those who wanted a Harley but prefer a different kind of machine, there'll be some additional options to consider. The big side note at this point in time is definitely going to be what kind of pricing these models come in at, because not only is it great for Harley to be expanding the type of rider that they're attracting, but it's also important that as many people as possible can take them up on that offer if the price is right. So what do you think? How do you like the styling and overall look and feel of the Bronx Street Fighter and Pan America Adventure Tourer? Are these bikes on your radar for 2020? And how do you think they stack up against the bikes already in these segments? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to sub and hit that notification bell. And as always, stay safe out there, and thanks for watching.